Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Emily Costantino Lee, and I am the Marketing and Promotions Manager over at the Santa Barbara Independent. Thank you so much for tuning in today to Downtown Business Spotlight. For those who don't know, this is an interview series that we co-host with Downtown Santa Barbara every week, and we highlight and interview different business owners in Santa Barbara. We are recording this conversation, and it will be up on both independent.com and downtownsb.org. So you can see it afterwards, or if you want to share it with some friends, you're able to do it that way. You can also find all previous recordings of Downtown Business Spotlight on independent.com as well. And if you have any questions for our guests today, please put them in the chat or the Q&A below, and we will be sure to work them into the conversation. And our host today is Robin Elander. Robin is the Executive Director of Downtown Santa Barbara, and she will be hosting this conversation. So with that, I will turn it over to her.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Emily. It's been such a joy to collaborate with you on this series. I'm so excited to introduce our guest today. So we have Hugh Margerum, who is a multi-talented entrepreneur, a illustrious career doing many different things, and also the founder of Presidio Neighbourhoods. So welcome, Hugh. We also have Albert DiPadova, who is the owner of Riviera Towel Company and also the founder of Sevilla Square Neighbourhoods. So welcome, Albert. It's great to have you here.
Glad to be here.
And then Mary Harms-Romo, who, let me make sure I get her title correctly. She is the Senior Marketing Director at the Paseo Nuevo. Thank you so much for joining us as well.
Thank you.
So lots to discuss. I'd love to start maybe with you, Hugh. Can you tell us a little bit about, your history in town? You have owned a number of different businesses and also started this neighborhood some time ago. Can you talk a little bit about your trajectory to get to now, and then we'll dive into the neighborhood aspect in a moment.
Sure. So I was with my family. We were the original owners of the Wine Cask restaurant in Intermezzo. We had a wine store, a restaurant, and catering business located in El Paseo, which at the time was transitioning from like one of the original shopping malls in Santa Barbara, in the country, really. In 1925, it was built, and it survived the earthquake. And by the time we got there, it was kind of on the tail end of a bunch of little shops, boutiques, El Paseo restaurant, and it was sort of switching over to all offices, unfortunately. But we started the Wine Cask restaurant on that end, on the Anacapa end, and that was a fantastic, thriving experience for many, many years. It still is. I can talk about that more later. On the other end is Bryant and Sons jewelry store and 33 Jewels, but the middle part was kind of just going into all offices. But so after Wine Cask, I was doing artistic stuff for about 10 years. And then I got back with my brother, who owns Margerum Wine Company, which has a tasting room in the Funk Zone now. But we had a tasting room there as part of the Wine Cask property. And then we opened another one in the center courtyard, the Barden tasting room. And when we were the first ones in there, shortly after we got joined by Au Bon Clément and Grissini. And then a few years later, we got joined by Happy Canyon Vineyards and Jamie Sloan. And so there was quite a collection of tasting rooms there. And we felt like we were kind of underrepresented in the town, because the Funk Zone was getting all the attention. That's where people were going to taste wine. And we had this whole other little kind of, I would say slightly higher end and quieter collection. And so we thought we should promote ourselves. And then I thought that we should just promote the whole neighborhood too. So I was going to get, a committee, a group of people together, and we could all talk about this. And then I said, no, it's probably better if I just do it all myself. So I'm a complete dictator. So I went ahead, and so I produced this. This is the third version of this map and brochure. And it lists all the businesses and a little bit about them. And then it links to online version of this too, now via a really nice QR code, which takes you right to the online version of the map. But so what I did initially is I just made this map ahead of time. I funded it all myself, and then I took it around to everyone. I put all their businesses on it, and I said, "Are you in on this?" And they said yes. And so they pitched in, and I've been producing this for 3 years now, and we have a really incredible core group of businesses, shops, restaurants, historical, cultural, and so it's really. I mean, I've been in the neighborhood for 40 years or so, and I'm still totally fascinated and in love with it, and keep discovering new things, and it keeps getting better. So
it's such a really interesting, beautiful space for those who haven't explored it significantly. It's just this wonderful meandering space that is has Spanish architecture. It has these courtyards. It's literally right behind me in this wall here. I'm on De La Guerra. But can you frame the blocks that are part of your neighborhood, just to make sure that we all know very specifically where you're speaking of?
Yeah, it's a little bit amorphous in that it's changed a wee bit. I expanded it after the first printing to go down to down Anacapa Street to the Black Sheep restaurant with the Paradise Cafe, which is now La Paloma, and that area right there. And then I expanded over a couple blocks to Garden Street to the Spanish Garden Inn, because I thought it was important to have a unique lodging experience, a boutique hotel there. And that's now changing into Pally House, which is a really high-end boutique hotel. They've taken that over. So some of the changes that are going on. And then it goes from State Street. It's basically State Street, a couple blocks over, a couple blocks down either way.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. We're going to come back to talk more about that in just a few moments. Albert, do you want to talk a little bit about Sevilla Square, where it is, what's all in it? It's a cool space. But before that, I guess we'll come back to that question, but talk a little bit about your business, how you got into this role of kind of the community organizer in Sevilla Square space.
Sure. Thank you. First of all, thanks for doing these. Your series has been fantastic. I've learned so much about the other business owners here in town, and it's really been fantastic what you guys have done with the DO in just the last few years, and especially during this hardest year. So thank you to you guys.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Tremendously. I've learned so much, and so you know, we started here in Santa Barbara in 2003. My wife and I launched Do Maternity right next to Arigato Sushi in what is Victoria Square. And we ran that for 7 years and sold it to a company and took off some time, and then decided to reinvent ourselves here as Riviera Towel Company. We decided that at this point in our lives, we really needed to do something more purposeful. And so we tried to figure out what the best product was. And we, while traveling, found these beautiful, what are called peştemels, or Turkish towels. They're just gorgeous textiles that are made in Turkey and are used as towels, but also wraps and shawls. And we're just really blown away that there wasn't anything quite like this in the States, because they've been used for centuries all over Europe, and everybody loves them and kind of takes them for granted. So our mission was to create an organization that would help fund marine agencies. And we have a give back program to 10 different marine agencies right now. And the model is to build the brand and sell lots of towels to the tourists, but also to fund marine agencies. And we found this great location. Thank you. Yeah, it's I
didn't realize that was part of your story.
That's the origin story, how we got going. And so, you know, for us, it gives us purpose that we can, you know, sell purposeful products that actually move the needle in a positive direction. It means a lot. And so, you know, when we launched, we took off here in this lovely block, which is State Street at Gutierrez for the locals, and bordered by Chapala, Parker Way, and Motorway. So this was originally, back in the when it was built in the 40s and 50s, was an auto zone where there were lots of car dealers. In fact, the old Buick dealer is where next to Home and Hayward's was an old Buick dealership. But this block of State and Gutierrez and Chapala is really unique because it's one of the last bastions of just solely 100% locally owned businesses. And so you have Santa Barbara Roasting Company. They're over 20 years. You have Chocolate Maya. You have Folio Press, where you can get cards that are just gorgeous custom cards. And all around the block, just fantastic little businesses that not a lot of folks know about. So because we had done this once before at Victoria Square up in the 1200 block, we thought, well, let's do the same thing. Let's pull together merchant associations similarly to what Hugh did, and pull the collaborative marketing dollars together and try to let people know that we're here, because on State Street is what they call City Lot 12, and we're working on that. We want it to be, known as the Sevilla lot, like the Granada lot is known. Yeah, we're trying to work on that. It's been a year and a half with the science committee, but that's a whole nother story. So everybody has their woeful stories about that. But at any rate, long story short, we banded together. We launched SevillaSquare.com, which I put in the chat right here if anybody wants to check it out to really look at all the businesses. But when you look at Backyard Bowls and Lily's Tacos and, of course, Yoga Soup, which is sort of the anchor of Sevilla Square. It's why everybody comes here. And then Gene Montesano owns Lucky's and all those restaurants. He has D'Angelo's to make the bread for his restaurants. And luckily for us, we get the best pastries and the best breads and coffee.
And the block just smells so good. You are approaching.
COVID-19. Yeah, it is fantastic. So that's the whole story. Sevilla Square, the building was named Sevilla Building. It used to be the old rollercade where people would roller skate. And the original floors are still in La Rev, which is a cute spa that's been here forever. It's just a gorgeous little block. If you haven't been down to this side of town, we invite you all to come and learn more about Sevilla Square.
Wow, thank you. I just learned some things about Sevilla Square. That was really cool. I appreciate that, Albert. We're going to come back and talk more about it in just a second. Mary Lynn, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. You have quite a history here in Santa Barbara as well. Tell us a little bit about your involvement in town and business, and how you came to be in your role at the Paseo Nuevo.
Well, thank you. And thank you for inviting me today to join these wonderful gentlemen. I love wine tasting across the street at El Paseo. And I was actually just down at D'Angelo's last Saturday. So enjoy exploring downtown. And fortunately, I came to Santa Barbara about 20 years ago and have had the pleasure of working and living in downtown this entire time. So definitely embedded into that downtown core. I've had the pleasure of also working for 3 great organizations, and one of them being Downtown Santa Barbara, which is where I was working just before I started at Paseo Nuevo.
I did hear that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it was through that position that I worked closely with the then marketing manager at Paseo Nuevo and got to know her really well and got to know a lot of the merchants. And when she decided she wanted to relocate, she recommended me for the job. So I took her up on that. But before that, I was also, I worked at the Santa Barbara International Film Festival, and actually one of the very first jobs I took when I moved here was at the Wine Cast. So
very
quite
cool.
A little 2 degrees of separation here. But it's such a, downtown is such a great core neighborhood. And part of what I've enjoyed about watching your series too is you see the same people in the downtown core all the time if you're out walking around and doing your daily business. And this series has given us a chance to get to know those people more intimately and know about their beginnings and what they're passionate about in their business. So I've enjoyed that. But Paseo Nuevo has been around for about 30 years, and we just went through a major renovation. So we're looking to our future. Luckily, that was something that was planned well before COVID, and retail is always changing. So that was really the precipice to creating this renovation. We want to be able to stay ahead of what retail is doing and be able to attract the best tenants that we can. We just really enjoy being right in the heart of downtown, even though Paseo Nuevo, like the proper part of it, is really in between State Street and Chapala. You really do have to venture in to find the real true Paseo Nuevo. It was one of the things, the first thing when I moved here, I was like, there's a mall downtown, and I walked by 3 times and couldn't find it. I didn't realize you had to walk in to find it. So, it's one of the things about all of these neighborhoods is if you're willing to walk, you get the experience of the true Santa Barbara, and you get to really get into the heart of it. And I think that's also one of the great things about the State Street Promenade now too, is that more people are walking and exploring. So we're really happy to be a part of it and happy to just be right in the middle of downtown.
We're happy you're there too. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that were part of your renovation. I've seen some of them, but let the community know, because there's some really beautiful new additions.
Thank you. Yes, it really is beautiful. It was quite an undertaking. A lot of the renovation is things that aren't seen. It is a 30-year-old property, and just like any property that's 30 years old, it needs a little tender love and care after a while. So we really had to dig deep and put in some stormwater mitigation, and that was the biggest part of the project and really had to be done first before we can continue on to the rest of it. So then once we got that done, and a lot of new conduit and utilities that just needed to be upgraded, it's been way too long. So
it was quite a project, wasn't it? I mean, there was practically the whole area was dug up for how long?
Quite a long time, for basically 8 months.
Wow.
Entire flooring was either one side or the other was dug up. So yeah, to get the drainage from the north end all the way down to the south end, it was quite an undertaking. So, and now that's all just underground and nobody will ever see it. So it was part of the major renovation. But after that, we were able to lay down beautiful new brick and some beautiful hand-painted tile rugs that come from Southern California. They're hand-painted here in California. And then we also worked with a local iron worker who has made most all of our new light fixtures. And at night, the center is absolutely beautiful with all the new lighting that we have. And it just feels more safe too. I think lighting is a huge thing that needs to be paid attention to make people feel safe, especially at night. So that is all completed. And then just a lot of beautiful tile work that's also on our stairs. And we were able to integrate a public art mural that is also ceramic tile. So yeah, and lots of beautiful new drought resistant landscaping that people
And
can.
some like tapestry, what would you call that?
Those are called toldos. And
Ooh.
yes, they are basically some shade that can be drawn closed or opened up depending on what you like, but it makes for a nice shady area on really sunny days.
Well, congratulations on that major renovation and all that you're doing to kind of really enhance and create a vibrant downtown. I'm curious, Hugh, well, all of you, but Hugh, maybe first, how has your neighborhood come together during these really unique times here over the past year or so to kind of band together to get through these moments?
Well, like I said, that brochure that I just showed you was the third printing of it, and it takes a long time to get everyone on board and get all their information and get their logos and everything. So I finally got that all together, and I was going to print it in March 2020. Yes. Bad timing. It was actually good timing because I decided to hold off, because I figured at that time, when we come out of this, half these businesses are going to be gone. They're going to be out of business. But unbelievably, unfortunately, they weren't at all. So I actually did do this printing in June when we sort of opened up a little bit again, and everyone was still there. Say Cheese went through restructuring, and they're now back as the cheese shop. So they're still there. People managed to hang on, which is fantastic. And they're still hanging on. And Wine Cask has new ownership with John O'Neill, and he's reopening now with Intermezzo, and it's fantastic and beautiful.
Really
Great menu,
nice.
great chef. And so everything is still there. And, once again, hopefully, we're on the road out of this now, and as things open up again, I'm going to just check back with everyone, and I'm going to do another printing of this. And I mean, the actual printed part is just more of a convenience, I would say. Most people look at stuff on their phones or online. And so this is for something that people carry around. You can scan it, get the info on your mobile device, and you can walk around. And again, it's about walking. And so here in Santa Barbara, we have such great weather. I mean, the last few days we've been freezing our asses off, which, you know, the rest of the country would love to be in this kind of weather, but still you can walk around and be outside, which is great. I mean, because it's going to take us a while before we're back inside and hugging each other and stuff. But I mean, that's sort of the beauty of all these neighborhoods, that you can. And the thing I encourage is to get people off of State Street, which is, you know, in transition now. It's going to be fantastic. I have great optimism that Santa Barbara is going to be just one of the most incredible cities anywhere if we can pull all this off. With De La Guerra Plaza too, being reconfigured as a European style plaza. You know, my idea is to get people to walk and explore, and there's tons to explore. All neighborhoods in the Funk Zone and the Arts District. You know, you can spend lots of days discovering and wining and dining and shopping.
There is so much to see and explore. Absolutely. Sorry, go ahead, Albert.
I was just going to say, and to your point, Hugh, the Visit Santa Barbara group has put together a great, here, I'll put it in the chat right there. You know, they're the group, Kathy had a bit and does a wonderful job promoting Santa Barbara. So anybody listening today that isn't familiar with how do you visit Santa Barbara, she has How to Spend 3 Great Days. And she also does a wonderful, on the website, breakdown of the neighborhoods, including the Presidio neighborhood, Sevilla Square, the Arlington group. So it's a wonderful resource. Not a lot of people, it still amazes me, a lot of people don't even know about the resources that are available to local businesses to share out to their own customers. And so I've often suggested, you know, using Santa Barbara, it's santabarbaraca.com, which is collectively known as Visit Santa Barbara. You'll see the social media accounts, but that's a great way. We email that out to so many of our customers that shop online with us and say, when you come to Santa Barbara, and encourage that, you know, idea of maybe visiting when it's safe to do so again.
Absolutely. And they've done such a great job with some of their marketing materials and the neighborhood guide. We do have a neighborhood guide as well on our website at downtownsb.org. And we've done some neighborhood digital shopping tours as well. So people can get just a tidbit of where they're looking for, and then they can go do some additional exploring. Albert, can you talk a little bit about maybe some of the highlights of things that people have done to kind of either support each other during these times in Sevilla Square? Sure. I know you've done a lot of unique initiatives there over the years, but maybe talk about some of the things you've done to kind of support each other recently.
Well, nobody knew what to do March, April, May.
Sure.
And it was kind of a bit of a panic going on. And the first thing, the group that owns this block, the Howe Family Trust, went out to the merchants and said, don't worry about rent, was their first message. It was such a heartfelt message from the owners of this, you know, entire block. And it made everybody feel a little better. And most people got some PPE loans. Whoever took the deferred rent paid it back, and it worked. It was such a beautiful, you know, way to go through what was really difficult for lots. And then when we reopened kind of around June, we did the corner concert series. So we all threw in a few bucks. We hired best buskers here in town, and we put them on the corner of State Street. And then we moved them around the block a little just to bring some life and music. Over at Roco, Brolin, that has Roco, put out beautiful red umbrellas and brought everybody out in the streets similar to State Street. But
that's one of my favorite weekend haunts there, and Backyard Bowls little combination is my fave.
Yeah, you can't beat the acai bowls there. The Hawaiian bowl with the honey is just, it's healthy. But anyway, so we try to collectively put things together. We have the Rollercade Summer Party, and every year we try to do something as a community. And we all know each other and we support each other. I was supposed to be in Vegas for our annual trade show for Riviera because we're a wholesaler. And because they shut down Vegas, Eddie, who owns Yoga Soup, let me use his studio to set up our trade show booth. And we were doing virtual trade shows right out of Yoga Soup, which is fantastic. So little things like
Oh,
that.
really? That's phenomenal. Very cool.
Yeah, actually kind of changed the way we do business now. We've left on our email signature, schedule a virtual tour of our product line any day, not just my annual trade show, but now I'm reaching out through Zoom because we all have this new digital language that we're getting more comfortable with. People love it. So I've been giving trade shows every week, which is something else, but it's been really good for us. So this block, Sevilla Square, is really a tight knit group of business owners that have been supporting each other like that.
Oh, that's really wonderful to hear, and so many learnings that you've done. Are any of those going to be some that you expect to continue even after this COVID situation is mitigated?
Yeah, the corner concert series just seemed to be such a hit, and it's so easy. Musicians were probably some of the hardest hit, all the performers were, but talk about all your business going off the rails for a few months. And so everybody probably knows Bruce. Bruce is famous for playing guitar in the parking garage over the movie theater. And he's a local, he's actually internationally well known now because of the movie they put out about him, which you can find on YouTube. But Bruce is a nurse, emergency room nurse, and he's an amazing guitarist, kind of a modern flamenco style. So we brought him down and he played on the corner, and of course with a velvet rope, 6 feet with a mask. So it was, a little muted. But we hope to bring those types of programs back where we make it interesting to stop as you come out from underneath the underpass of 101. The first thing that you're faced with is a kind of a blank corner, which way to go. And we're working on signage for that with the city. But we thought, well, let's put a musician right there and have him talk to the crowd about Sevilla Square behind him. And it's worked out really well.
That's all very cool stuff. Thank you for sharing that, Albert. And Mary Lynn, you've been doing some innovative kind of pivots and some innovative programming over the years. And I've seen your organization, as well as many of the people who are doing business there, really come together and try to figure some things out, support each other. Can you speak a little bit about some of that and just what your takeaways and learnings are from some of that, your experiences?
Yeah, absolutely. During the whole shutdown time, we really were just trying to stay in communication with all of our tenants, just letting them know what resources were out there and available to them, and just keeping open lines of communication. In the beginning, none of us knew how long it was going to last or what was going to happen. So it was really all of us together collectively feeling our way through it. But really, it was just really about communication, just staying in touch, answering questions, so much unknown, just trying to, I feel like I was glued to the TV or to the computer screen every day, waiting for the next health order update or the next press conference just to figure out what was going on. But then being able to share that information with our tenants so that they could be more well-informed. And just talking to them about, what we can do to help them. And so we really just tried to stay in communication until we were able to reopen. We officially reopened on June 1st. So we kind of just pivoted all of our programming. Normally summer is tourism time for us, and we start to go into some of our annual fall programs that we weren't able to do. One of them is an annual fall runway show. So we really wanted to still continue to feature our tenants on that. So we got together and we did a video runway show. So we went into each of the tenants' stores and had them model their clothes and put together some fall fashion and put it together as one long video that people could watch anytime they wanted. So a lot of our pivot has been on social media and in video, and just trying to stay relevant and get the exposure to our tenants through that way. And then, hopefully one day we'll be able to get back to normal and doing some of our usual events. But now that we've learned how to do all of this, it's just another layer of marketing that we can provide to the tenants as well. Even giving them extra outdoor space to expand. During the holidays, we had a tenant who did very well. And they have such a small store that 20% of occupancy is like 2 people. So we were able to help them out, giving them some outdoor space so that they could queue lines and talk to guests outside and
Great.
be able to, start that shopping process, even though you're not in the store yet. And then also working with the restaurants to give them some more space so that they can do outdoor dining still. And we implemented curbside pickup. So any of the retailers or restaurants could take advantage of that, making it nice and convenient for guests to park in the parking garage. It's covered and safe for them to just pull up and wait for their packages to be brought out to them. So definitely learned a lot, had to, pivot and find unique ways to continue what we do and support our tenants that way.
Very cool. And I've heard you've had some pretty successful digital treasure hunts of sorts as well, right?
Yeah, so we have a wonderful Santa and we'd love to have him back every year. He is the kindest, best Santa I've ever experienced in the shopping center industry. And, it just wasn't right this year to set up a photo set because our Santa cottage is too small and there wouldn't be any way to do physical distancing, but we still wanted to have him there for the families. And one of the most popular events he's done in the past is called Story Time with Santa. And, we'd get 50, 75 kids to come and listen to Santa tell a story on a Thursday morning. So what we did this year instead, and our Santa is wonderful at accepting any ideas we throw at him, we asked him if he would do virtual story time. So he came down to the property and we set up a set where he could read stories and do a video. And then every Thursday during December, including Christmas Eve, we featured a brand new story that was read by our Santa. And it got a lot of traction on all of our social media and had lots of engagement.
That's really special. Very cool. Love to hear about that. And, all of the snowfalls that you had were very, very special, but, enough, I think you did more of them. So they weren't so, packed in there. So that was really smart too.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm curious.
My kids love the snow. I want to say thank you for that. It's so fantastic. And the carolers by the tree, by the way, the tree is magnificent every year that you guys put up. So
thank you.
We really love it down there.
It does create a special environment. And in this year, especially when it was kind of low energy, when I went in there, I was like, oh, it's Christmas.
Good.
Yes. It was lovely.
Yeah, Christmas, it's my favorite time of year too. And we just really wanted to try to do as many things as we could safely that still kept the traditions alive. And, we had lots of guests comment and appreciate that. So we're thankful we were able to do it and keep it safe and everybody still was able to enjoy it.
Yes, thank you for making that special for our community. There's so much going on in the Paseo Nuevo. There's a lot of possibilities that are happening in some of the major larger tenants. What are some of the things that are being thought about for those spaces?
You bet. So, like I was saying earlier, the renovation was really planned many years ago before COVID and before a lot of changes, before Macy's closed, before Nordstrom closed. But this is really our first stepping stone to what we want to do to revitalize the whole property and make it more of a mixed use for downtown. And so now that we've finished kind of the exterior renovation, our next goal is to start repurposing the Ortega building for a different use, not a large department store anymore, but to be able to integrate some shared workspaces, possibly on the second and third floors, but maybe a grocer and some restaurants and small retail down on the street level. So that's kind of our next phase of the development. And then, that building we own, so that's that would be our next project. But then now, Nordstrom has closed. And so now we've set our sights on that. And we're looking at, any ways that we might be able to create pathways to housing. And so that's kind of what we're working on right now. And ultimately our goal would to make the entire property, reduce the footprint of retail down to kind of just the main Paseo that's right in the center, and then utilize the anchors to create more synergy with workspace, residential, whatever we can do to kind of create a more mixed use project right in the middle of downtown.
That really seems like a smart, healthy move for bringing more people and more vibrancy to the area. Having more people living downtown means more activity and just energy in the neighborhood. So I'm liking the sound of that. Thank you for sharing. I know that the community's kind of been like, what's happening in this space, and I know it's not quite there yet in terms of, being able to announce anything, but love the work that you're doing on that.
Thank you. It's very close, so stay tuned.
Love it. Hugh, do you want to share a little bit about your hopes for the future for the Presidio neighborhood and downtown in general? I know you're a board member for downtown Santa Barbara and have done so many different projects downtown, and you've shared some in the past. I don't know if you want to bring them up now, but there was this one event that I so want to see, and I'll let you decide if you want to talk about that. If you know what I'm talking about.
What is it?
It's a lot of white outfits.
Oh yeah. Well, that actually didn't come to fruition. I was trying to organize at one point the wineries in the Presidio neighborhood to participate in the summer solstice and reinventing the toga party. Because, Bacchus is the god of wine, and I figured it could be a super fun event to have, a weekend where everyone wears togas and drinks wine and have a, little debauchery. But,
I still want to see that eventually when we get back.
Come back, but
sign me up.
I even had a Bacchus lined up. I had a guy, and I said, all you have to do is sit there on the throne and people will feed you grapes and you have to drink wine. So I'm sure he'll still be available. But I'm really hopeful about the future of not only our neighborhoods, but the State Street and Santa Barbara in general, because this is actually, I think it was Jason Harris who said it at one of our meetings. First, he said there was the first thing that really shaped Santa Barbara was the earthquake in 1925. So it was rebuilt into pretty much like we see it now, into very aesthetic and sort of Spanish Moorish architecture. The second thing was the building of Lacumbra Plaza, which, believe it or not, was like the hottest thing in the world. And everyone flocked out there and downtown became deserted. It's kind of opposite now. But at that time, that's when they redid State Street into the mall that it has been for the last 30 or 40 years. And now the third earthquake is COVID. So there's certain things we have an opportunity to really remake things in a really integrated and beautiful way. And I think and interactive too. I think that's before COVID, we were all, Mary Lynn, as you know, that the retail is totally changing with online shopping and everything. So what people really need and want is an experience. And so I've been advocating for State Street to be closed for the last 40 years. And they was like, no, we can't do that. It's impossible, and yada, yada. And so this forced the hand and say, oh, actually we can do it. And it's fantastic. And like the bars, like you can never allow someone to take a cocktail to go. That would be
now you can.
So it's not a problem. And so this is really a chance for us to re-envision things and have a whole mix that integrates all different peoples, from tourists and locals, all different socioeconomic levels. And, I think it's an amazing opportunity. Sure, another project I was working on years back, trying to deal with some of the stodgy people in government, was I wanted to have because I've traveled and seen these things in other places. I wanted to have a public ping pong table in Santa Barbara, and I was willing to fund it. And it was a beautiful concrete sculptural table with a stainless steel net. I think this is a thing that engages people and brings people downtown. It makes more activity and life. So that never happened, but I'm really hopeful with the reemergence of State Street as a promenade. We can have rock climbing, ping pong, and things for the whole family to do.
Absolutely. I agree.
Love all the energy you bring to downtown, Hugh. It's immense and exciting, and the vision is just alive within you, and it just kind of exudes downtown. So thank you for all of that.
I gotta say, I got on the board of downtown Santa Barbara about a year ago, and we were directorless for a while there, and we brought Robin on, and same to you. Fantastic to have you on board, and I feel really positive going forward about the direction of downtown Santa Barbara and the whole city and the neighborhood. So
thank you so much. I'm really honored to be in this role at this time. It's like this extreme challenge, but it is this extreme opportunity for our community to not only come together to re-envision, to explore possibilities, to try new things. And it's going to be one hell of a place. It already is, but especially I cannot wait to put on the party in the street of the century when we get through this. So that is exciting to me. Albert, I want to make sure you get an opportunity to share your vision for Sevilla Square and downtown.
Yeah, of course. I'm so surprised that there are so many people that don't know about the AIA charrette and all the work that's going on. When I tell folks about it, they look at me dumbfounded that 16 groups came together in the middle of COVID, came up with these beautiful plans and vision for what downtown could be. And so I've put it down here as well with their beautiful plan, which you can also see on the buildings. State Street and is that
and in Perdido?
Perdido, the old Wendy Foster has it in their windows. So if you want to physically look at it, it's there. It's also in the chat here. The idea that we can have a promenade that's, like you said, interactive and experiential is really what's going to make the difference. And if there's any silver lining to this whole COVID, crisis, it's that people have become less rigid in their thinking and more acceptable of immediate change can happen. And it doesn't take, a year and a half to get a sign put up any longer. Next week at the Planning Commission. But at any rate, I think the mentality has shifted, and I think we're all looking toward what can happen, the possibilities now. So I'm very hopeful for downtown this year.
Wonderful. Well, I got to plug a couple things. And then if you guys have anything else you want to plug or share, I want to invite our community out tonight for the State Street Promenade Market. It's going on from 3 to 7:30, and that's every Thursday on the 1000 block and the 900 block of State Street. So great place to shop outdoors and also explore the surrounding neighborhoods. Lots of good deals to be found there. Also, we have the downtown annual awards ceremony coming up on Wednesday, February 24th at 9. And love to have you there. It's via Zoom. Unfortunately, we're not going to be at our beautiful El Paseo restaurant this year. I'm sure we'll be back at some point, but we are going to be awarding some phenomenal business leaders with Business Champion of the Year, Entrepreneur of the Year, Volunteer of the Year, Youth Leader of the Year, and I think I might be catching all of them. I'm not sure, but great opportunity to get to know some more business owners, some virtual networking. And Emily, tell us what is in and on the front of the Independent today. Actually, I'll tell, because Emily and her husband are on the front of the Independent. Yes, there she is. It's the wedding issue, and it's so fabulous. She has told a little bit about her story about getting married and having her marriage ceremony be in the middle of the pandemic, and there's so much more to be offered in that issue, and we're excited to have that partnership with the Independent to put on this weekly show. Emily, what is coming up for you that you would like to share?
Well, I'll talk a little bit about next week's guest. So next week's theme is it's called The Status of Sipping. And we're going to have John Nasser from Night Lizard Brewing Company and Aaron Ashland from the Cruisery and Wine Therapy, and Katie Grassini from Grassini Family Vineyard. So the three of them will be on next week, 3 p.m. on Zoom. And you can go to independent.com/spotlight if you want to register for that as well.
Wonderful. It looks like there's one question in here that we didn't get to answer yet. Servers in restaurants, tasting rooms, are they being able to get vaccinated yet? I'm sure that I don't think that that's a possibility yet, unless they are over 65, I think it's
75.
necessary. 75.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have anything to add to that question, or do you know when?
No,
Any expectation of when they might be?
I'm just over 65 and I can't get one yet, but apparently by mid-April, there will be quite a few available, but it's going to be a slow rollout. So we just got to be patient and be careful and be safe and carry on. So,
Yeah, little by little, wear your mask, come out, do some social distancing, shopping, dining out. And there's now we've just started allowing to have entertainers at restaurants, tasting rooms. So you can start to hear some live music a little bit more now. So very excited about that. And if we continue to take care of each other, we're going to get out of this madness soon enough. And we can have that party in the street. So.
And until then, you guys probably all know Ellie Iverson, who puts on.
Yeah, she's amazing.
So tonight she's throwing Shakespeare in Love and Libel, and it's Shakespeare. It's actually the directors of Shakespeare. So they're
Zach.
Craftsman Ale, which is great ale, and their empanadas and Shakespeare tonight at 7 o'clock. I'll put the link in here if you're not doing anything and want to hear some fun bards barbing each other. I think that might be cool to check out.
That's fabulous. Mary,
Awesome.
Lynn, anything coming up that you want to make sure that people know about?
Yeah, so we are planning an International Women's Day Market on March 7th from 11 to 6 p.m. It'll be out in the street, De La Guerra Place, that leads right in from State Street into Paseo Nuevo, and then also in our center court and some of our paseos as well. But this is all local entrepreneurs, women's businesses, and women-made products. And artwork and craftsmen. So please come downtown and enjoy a nice walk on State Street that day and stop in and help support the women's accomplishments in our community. We're partnering with Women's Economic Ventures on this, as well as Blissful Boutiques, who runs our Makers Market every weekend.
Awesome. And Hugh, do you have anything coming up you want to make sure people know about?
Nothing specific, but restaurants are opening up again for outdoor dining, and there's, for instance, the Black Sheep restaurant is open, and Ruben does an incredible job there. And then La Paloma is just opening again, diagonally across the street. Other, like I said, Intermezzo is opening for their interior courtyard, beautiful interior patio, and the whole front arcade along Anacapa Street. Zaytoon restaurant, there's Rudy's, there's La Paloma. So there's all kinds of opportunities to go get out and about. And I really encourage people to go shop and support locally owned boutiques too. Lovebird Boutique is down there. And you can just walk about and find some great deals and support your local businesses.
Support local, absolutely. I'll leave you with one last one for Valentine's Day. Chocolate Maya, which is right here in Sevilla Square, has this great Valentine's box that you might want to check out for someone special. So that is my Valentine's tip.
Love that. Well, so much to do this weekend, so much to do coming up. More is opening up every day. So thank you all to our guests for joining us and all you're doing for the community in each of your neighborhoods. And congrats, Emily, on being on the front today of the Independent. And we will see you all next time. Thank you. Anything you want to share before we hop off, Emily?
I am on the cover, but I'm on the cover because it's our wedding issue. So
yes.
If anybody out there gets engaged this weekend or is engaged, it's full of resources for you to plan your wedding. So be sure to pick up a copy.
Yes, that is why. Beautiful. All right, we will see you all next Thursday at 3 o'clock. We'll be having another show, and also lots more to find out about downtown at our website at downtownsb.org. See you guys soon.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Emily.
Bye.